Both the New York Giants and New Orleans Saints are coming off tough touchdown losses in their Week 13 matchup, but now they will face each other here in Week 14. My name is Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this Week 14 match between the New Orleans Saints and New York Giants. But before we do that, we do have a goal of getting to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think will win this game and why. So, Ryan, Giant season is just kind of washed. Saint season kind of washed essentially now. But this is going to be a fun game to kind of see who are going to be some of the key players of these teams and franchises want to keep building around as well. Saints have already fired their coach, Dennis Allen, so they'll be looking for a new head coach. A lot of conversations, and Giants fans, I'd love to hear from you all if you think Brian Dable and Joe Schoen should be fired as well going into this offseason. Because it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to both these teams come January, really.
Black Monday might be a dark day for both these organizations.
Well, I think Black Monday's already happened. I think it was Black November.
Week 8.
Yeah, or something like that. To be fair to the Saints in particular, but also the Giants have suffered this as well. But the Saints, and even today too, Taysom Hill had a gruesome leg injury as well. So I hope he's okay. He's had a very fun career to watch and follow. That being said, I'm a Falcons fan, so I've had to unfortunately be on the bad end of a lot of that career because he seems to have amazing games against us. But you hate seeing stuff like that happen to players like him who are just fun to watch. And so I hope all is okay and hope his recovery goes well. But Saints have just been decimated with injuries overall. And they're getting a little bit healthier, but even to losing a guy like Taysom Hill with all the injuries they've had to their skill position players, he was a gadget guy that at minimum maybe might not light up the stat sheet, but he's at least a decoy that you're like, man, we got to look out for this guy. And he can help out so many different ways. And with him now not on the field for this team, it just adds on to the rest of the problems here for New Orleans. And the Giants on the flip side, though, Daniel Jones is not even on the team anymore. That was they had a decision between Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones, and they chose wrong. Now, as neither guys are left on the team, so where the Giants go from here, it's now even more obvious, especially too as they keep on losing, that quarterback is probably going to be in their potential future here as well. But what's curious about it, though, and I want to get your thoughts, is if they don't fire Brian Dable and if you don't fire Joe Schoen, I'm pronouncing his name correctly, right? It's Joe Schoen.
Yeah, Joe Schoen, I think.
Do you really want to use a top 5 pick on a quarterback in this class, especially if Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward aren't there?
I feel like you have to. You don't have a choice if you're those guys, because if you have another 2-10 season, but running it back, the only other option would be you go get a Justin Fields or a Sam Darnold and just try to pitch to ownership that this is going to be a 2-year longer process than it already is. Like that to me, I think is where you're going to find a lot of pushback. The other option is you could go with a Garrett Nussmeier, with a Quinn Ewers, Carson Beck, and go the developmental route and then go get a bridge quarterback that is going to play the whole year. Go get a Justin Fields, sign him to a 1-year, $15 million deal.
Go get Andy Dalton. I mean, like his time in Carolina.
Yeah.
Like not great, but at the same time though, like serviceable. And now you're seeing the success from Bryce Young, and like maybe he can help develop your
and that's the other route. I mean, this offensive line is just decimated with injuries as well. It's hard. Like this is it. I feel bad for them for the hand that they were dealt. Neither of them drafted Daniel Jones. They did sign to a second contract, but it's just a tough situation because you were in that situation coming out of that year. You win a playoff game with Daniel Jones, and you're like, all right, do we really want to go back to the draft and risk blowing all this up, or do we just sign Daniel Jones to an extension? And frankly, I think both decisions would have been wrong.
And that was the Kenny Pickett year too, wasn't it?
I believe, yeah.
So it's they weren't going to draft Kenny Pickett, as that didn't work out. And I don't even think you can make an argument that Malik Willis has been the best quarterback to come out of that class. The ones that are coming to my mind, because he's had some good games with Green Bay to help kind of with their playoff run here. Desmond Ridder was also in that class, and I'm a Falcons fan, so you know my opinion on that. So it's that's an interesting point though too on what they do with them moving forward. But what has happened this year? Last year, everybody was hurt. This year, Daniel Jones wasn't hurt, but there were some other injuries. But still, just not good at all.
No.
And nothing to really show for it.
Yeah, and that's we'll get into the Saints here in a second. It is just the unfortunate way that the league goes. Somebody has to lose these games, and the Giants have just been on the short end of that stick more often than not. And starting with another rough reality of this league is injuries, and I think the Saints, kind of as you touched on with Taysom Hill being another one added on top of all of that, all of the injuries that they've had this season. The Saints started out this season like gangbusters and just going absolutely crazy those first couple of weeks, and then the injuries started to pile up, and they just couldn't hang on to that momentum. And as unfortunate as it is, here we are, 2-8 in the last 10 weeks, or I guess 11 weeks. We have a bye week, but it's just tough. And I think the Saints are kind of a sneaky team that could be in the quarterback conversation if they finish high enough in the draft rankings, because Derek Carr has been okay.
Yeah, they do have Spencer Rattler that they draft now. Well, I say that specifically if they're trying to develop a guy. Now, to your point though, the Saints, if they're a quarterback-looking team in the draft, it's going to be in that second or third round, because in my eyes, and you should subscribe so you can see all of our offseason content. We started doing mock drafts. My eyes is really only two legitimate first-round quarterbacks with Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. Now, I think Jalen Milroe or somebody else could work their way up into the first round for a team like the Jets, for example, that might want to slide in there, or the Raiders. They're also looking for a quarterback. Browns potentially also looking for a quarterback. So maybe one of those teams will take a chance on them with their top 10 overall pick. Probably the Browns if we're going based off history. But the Saints, though, if you want to wait a little bit and let some of those guys fall, I could see it being where you take Quinn Ewers 45th overall, or wherever your second round pick is, or maybe you take Carson Beck in the third round and have him be kind of a developmental piece. Let him learn behind Derek Carr. So that's what's going to be very interesting. The Saints are in a much more convenient spot when it comes to picking their next quarterback, because they already have that bridge quarterback under contract. And Derek Carr is serviceable. He's doing well. And we've seen what this offense can do when fully healthy. And if you keep adding some more pieces, maybe they can keep on being more explosive. So you allow that time for that young quarterback. The Giants don't have that luxury. So that's where it's very fascinating on what the Giants are going to do. And if I'm being honest, then if you're Dable or if you're Joe Schoen and you go look at this class and you're not able to get one of those top two guys, in my opinion, Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, come up with see if you can work the argument and be like, if we're in this for the long haul and if we have our job for the long haul, let's go get Justin Fields. I think he can win us some games, make us serviceable, but go get a Mason Graham or a Will Johnson or a Ted McMillan. Imagine Ted McMillan across from Malik Neighbors in this offense. And so then you kind of build this team up around. So then when you get that young quarterback that you feel can be the franchise guy, at least he's coming into a better situation.
Yeah.
Because to be fair to Daniel Jones, he didn't do himself any favors. But also, too, it's the Giants organization didn't help him out that much either.
It's the Mac Jones argument. All right, the Patriots did Mac Jones no favors, but you can kind of tell, this is, even if they did do all they could to help him, the ceiling is maybe a wild card team.
And that's fine. Yeah. No, I agree completely. I think also, too, if I'm the organization, in this situation, depending on if one of those two quarterbacks is there, do you risk just blowing, having another Daniel Jones, taking a guy that maybe his ceiling really isn't that big once we put him out there to test, and then you're just in the same spot now 3-4 years from now and just continually keep on losing instead of building a good football team overall. So that's what's going to be fascinating within this game in particular. Drew Lock, I thought this offense started to pick up a little bit, just untimely turnovers that kind of shot themselves in the foot. The Giants defense is actually decently good. They got a good front seven, need to be a little bit better in the secondary. But when it comes to this game, I'll just say this here. I'm up 9 games overall in our season-long competition, and I see Ryan's picking the Saints here. So I'm actually going to go with the Giants. I'll see if I can give you some opportunities to let you come back, but also too, I'll say maybe see if I can put this away pretty early with a couple weeks left in. But I do think there's opportunities for. I think the Saints losing Taysom Hill, they're going to lose some of their explosiveness capabilities. Some of their gadget play capabilities. They might become a little bit more predictable. Have to rely on Alvin Kamara a lot more. And I think that this defensive line from the Giants, I think, can push around the Saints offensive line, who are getting healthier. But I still think when healthy, I think this Giants defensive line is going to make it tough for the Saints to score.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be tough for both of these teams to score. And not that I feel like either of these teams are like world beaters on defense. I just think both these offenses are really struggling. And so I'm going with the Saints. I just kind of feel like they're the better team in the matchup. I don't even think that they're necessarily healthier. I don't know. I think I trust them maybe slightly more, or maybe I trust the Giants slightly less than I trust the Saints. So I just think I'll go with New Orleans here.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. This is typically, I will say, it's like with the Panthers, for example, or like with the Titans, teams with similar records. I'm like excited to watch because like how these teams going to develop. There's not really much.
Yeah.
We kind of know with Drew Lock. We kind of know with Derek Carr. Will I watch this game? Absolutely. It's my want to be job. It's like with this business that you and I are starting. But yeah, it'll be more kind of for off-season purposes, like what can you improve on, or any other evidence, like if Brian Dable should be fired.
Yeah, no, I agree. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this toilet bowl matchup here in Week 14. Will it be the New Orleans Saints? Will it be the New York Giants? Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.